In this continuation, today we are going to talk about how you can speed up your immigration application process at USCIS that will help you to reduce your application processing time.
Visit our Swat&Vee channel with your questions to see how best we can help you adjust your process. Please don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel.
Let's get into the video. If you want to obtain an immigrant visa of the U.S., your journey will be started by the submission of an application at the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services Office, which is submitted by a petitioner. USCIS handles most immigration benefit requests. Your application's processing time may vary depending on your application type and the amount of workload at the USCIS office that is responsible for the adjudication of your case. In 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic has made USCIS standard case processing times longer. In this condition, you can speed up your application processing time, which is known as expedited processing. Expedited case processing is when USCIS gives you a decision on your application sooner than its normal processing time. Expedited processing is especially helpful when you face emergency situations and sudden changes in your personal life and need to hear from USCIS on your case sooner rather than later. Let's know when can you expedite your case with USCIS. USCIS decides on expedite requests on a case-by-case basis. Every applicant is welcome to submit a case expedite request to USCIS. However, there are specific criteria that USCIS relies on to decide whether an expedite request is appropriate for the applicant's situation. You must submit supporting documentation to prove that your case falls under one of the following criteria for expedited processing according to USCIS policy. Number 1. Clear USCIS error. Sometimes USCIS can make a mistake on your immigration application while processing it. If a USCIS mistake causes you to lose time and status, and you can prove it, USCIS will be more likely to approve your case expedite request. Critical mistakes could include things like using incorrect dates that cut short the validity period for your status. For example, if USCIS sends you a green card with an expiration date that ends in 8 years instead of the standard 10, the shortened time is an error you can raise. As long as you can submit proof that USCIS made the error and not the petitioner or applicant, USCIS will likely approve your expedited processing request. Number 2. Urgent humanitarian reasons. You can request expedited processing if there are urgent humanitarian reasons motivating you to. USCIS does not have an official definition for what they consider to be urgent cases. Still, if you can prove that you're experiencing something that could pass as a critical humanitarian situation, USCIS may approve your expedited request. Examples could include, but are not limited to, an outbreak of war in your home country, or a sudden grave illness that requires you to be in the U.S. Number 3. Severe financial loss to a person or company. USCIS may expedite processing on your case if you can prove that a person or company will suffer severe financial loss if USCIS does not give you a decision on your case sooner rather than later. Here's an example of the sort of situation where USCIS might expedite your case. Imagine that you are joining a nonprofit organization that needs to have you on their board to secure funding with a grant application. That grant application will expire before you hear back from USCIS. The organization will not receive the grant without you on their team, and if they don't receive the grant, the nonprofit will be in serious financial trouble. In this sort of a case, expediting your case will prevent harming a U.S. company, so USCIS will be more likely to allow you to expedite. Number 4. Compelling U.S. government interest. If your application impacts U.S. national interest, government interest, or public safety in some way, then USCIS may be very likely to approve your case expedite request. The U.S. government agency or entity concerned is responsible for making the expedite processing request for your case on your behalf. Now let's know. When will you not be eligible to expedite your case with USCIS? Certain application scenarios do not qualify for a USCIS case expedite request. You cannot expedite your case with USCIS if you have already requested premium processing for the case. Additionally, if you request expedited processing for a case outside of the processing timeframe because of an error you made, USCIS will not approve your expedite request. You also can't expedite processing for, say, an employment authorization document application just so that you can begin working sooner. In all cases, you must prove one of the needs listed in the previous section of this article in order for USCIS to approve your expedite request. If you request expedited processing for a case that you already submitted under premium processing, USCIS will not approve your case expedite request. The premium processing service is a USCIS expedited processing service that is available for some employment-based applications. Now we will let you know step by step how to expedite your case at USCIS. Once you have confirmed that you have a qualifying reason for submitting an expedited processing request for your case, it is time to submit the request. You can follow these steps which we will describe. Step 1. At your receipt notice. You cannot submit a USCIS case expedite request without your receipt notice. When you reach out to USCIS, they will ask you to provide information like your receipt number from your receipt notice to be able to make your request. You should have received your receipt notice in the mail about 2 weeks after you filed your petition. Step 2. Call USCIS. When you have located your receipt notice and have it in hand, you are now ready to call USCIS. You can reach the USCIS Contact Center by calling 1-800-375-5283. The call operator will forward you to the USCIS Service Center handling your case. Step 3. Speak to Tier 1 or Tier 2 officer. You will usually have to wait on the phone for some time to speak with a USCIS representative at the Service Center handling your case. You should speak with a Tier 1 or Tier 2 USCIS officer. When you connect with a customer service representative, they will usually transfer you to a Tier 1 or Tier 2 officer once you explain that you want to make a case expedite request and provide your reason for wanting to do so. Step 4. Make your request and get an expedite service request number. The USCIS officer you speak with will ask you to provide your email address, receipt number, and other identifying information so they can place the request on your behalf. When they place the expedite request, they will give you an expedite service request number. You should write this down in a place where you can easily find it. Step 5. Track expedite request. You can track your expedite request using the expedite service request number that the USCIS officer gave you and your receipt number. You will be able to track your case expedite request at uscis.gov. When you track your case on the USCIS website, you can also create a USCIS online account. Your tracking information will save to your USCIS account, making it easier for you to view updates to your expedite request. Step 6. Get an email to submit request documentation. Soon after you place your case expedite request, you will receive an email from USCIS asking you to submit supporting documentation for your expedite request. The supporting documents you have to submit will depend on the reason for your expedite request. Step 7. Submit supporting documentation. You must respond to the email request with the supporting documentation that USCIS asked for based on the reasons for your request. Your supporting documents must be combined into one PDF file and should not be more than 15 pages long. You can only send one email in response to the request, so make sure you have included all the supporting documents you want to include before hitting send. The sooner you send your supporting documents, the sooner you can hear back on your request. Step 8. Receive a decision on your expedite request. After you send in your supporting documents, it should generally take less than a week to receive a decision on your expedite request. USCIS will email their final decision on your request to the email that you provided on your original application. If you did not provide an email address on your application, then they will send their decision to the email address that you used to make your expedite request. Step 9. Receive decision on petition or application. If USCIS approves your request for expedited processing, you should be able to see USCIS's final decision on your application in about a week's time. You can check the status of your case using the USCIS online tracking tool. If you would prefer to have a bit of backup for your USCIS expedite request, there are two ways to get it. You can contact your member of Congress or the USCIS Ombudsman. How long does it take USCIS to respond to an expedite request? There's no set timeline for processing expedite requests. It can take anywhere from a few days to a few weeks to hear back on your expedite request. Usually, though, you will hear back on an expedite request in about 10 days. If USCIS approves your expedite request, you will probably receive a decision on your application 1 to 2 weeks later. You should regularly check your USCIS case status after requesting expedited processing to see if USCIS has decided on your application. We hope that you found our guide to expediting your USCIS immigration application useful.
I hope you guys found this video extremely helpful. If you know anybody that could benefit from this information, definitely make sure to share this video with them. We are all about empowering you with knowledge. So the more people that can benefit from this video, the more people we want watching this video. If you like this video, please make sure to hit that thumbs icon. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and hit on the notification bell for more immigration updates. Bye!